Thank you for clicking on this video for Rank the Movies. We are still talking about the Royal Rumble. We are 2 down, we have 2 left to go, and this one is another nostalgic one for me, because I actually saw this one off of pay-per-view. My birthday is in early January, so for a couple of years there, my mom's birthday present to me was ordering the Royal Rumble, because it was my favorite wrestling event, and just made a good birthday present, you know. You're not getting anything on your birthday, but on this other Sunday of the month, we're gonna watch, this pay-per-view. Because, family didn't have a lot of money, couldn't always buy the pay-per-views, so this was a treat. It was a treat. So I remember watching this one live. In fact, I remember one of the pre-show matches that is not on, it's not on the network, the free-for-all match, because it was Mil Mascaras and another mini wrestler taking on Mini Vader and Mini Mankind. It was a great match. I mean, it's mini wrestlers, Sonny's the referee. It was a lot of fun. I remember that very vividly, and I kind of wish I still had the tape that we made of that night, so I could, go back through and rewatch those matches. Unfortunately, I don't. I might have a DVD I made of it a couple of years, many years ago, hidden somewhere in this room. It also might have gotten thrown out during one of the times I moved. I'm not certain. Moving on. So we're at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Our commentary team is Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, and Jerry the King Lawler. This is before the Mr. McMahon angle, so this is right at the end of Vince McMahon's announcing duties. But, Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler are preparing to take over as the voices of WWE, or of WWF, moving forward. We open with an Intercontinental title match between Goldust and Hunter Hearst Helmsley. This is all over Marlena, Goldust's valet. Again, Goldust is Dustin Rhodes, who again was part of the 1991 Royal Rumble. I don't know why I held up my cheat sheet to explain that. He was. So this is his second appearance in these videos. So these two have been feuding over Marlena. Eventually, Chyna will be debuted. Not at this encounter though. Because in this encounter, Hunter Hearst Helmsley is backed up by Mr. I'm blanking on this wrestler's name. He also ended up backing up Chris Jericho many years later. I just want to say Wall Street. I know that's wrong, so I'm not gonna try to remember who the manager's name was. It's a pretty decent match. Goldust and Hunter work very well together. It's an entertaining start to the show. Hunter wins because of trickery, beats Goldust, and leaves with his tail between his legs, and his manager and his bodyguard following him with the Intercontinental title. Our next match is Farouk, leader of the Nation of Domination, taking on Ahmed Johnson. At this point, Farouk has been responsible for injuring Ahmed Johnson a few months prior. He didn't actually injure him. It was just, it made good television to say Ahmed Johnson went out because of what Farouk had done. So this is the payback match. This is Ahmed Johnson getting his vengeance. Ron Simmons is a great wrestler. I never cared for Ahmed Johnson, even when he was on his rocket to the top of the card. I never cared for Ahmed Johnson as a wrestler. I never missed him when he was gone. And it kind of really shows. Farouk wins by cheating, disqualification, interference. It's something. And D'Lo Brown gets put through the Spanish announce table. This is before anyone knows who D'Lo Brown is, because the Nation of Domination really isn't the Nation of it's basically what the Nation of Domination is at this point. It's Farouk and Crush. Yes, the Hawaiian is now playing ex-convict, because he is an ex-convict. But you have Farouk and Crush, and then they have a posse of, hangers-on. It's like a 15-person stable with only 2 people who wrestle at this point. Eventually they'll get a third in Savio Vega, and then that version will go away, and a better version will come. After that, we have the man they call Vader taking on The Undertaker. Vader has been recently managed by Jim Cornette. Cornette is not part of this match. Vader and Undertaker, it's not a bad match. Undertaker I think Undertaker generally works better with the smaller guys. Like, they always put him up against the big guys, like Yokozuna, Giant Gonzalez. That's a hilarious match. Check that out one day. It's from WrestleMania 9, I believe. Giant Gonzalez. You know, they're putting him up with these big guys or big guys. And I think outside of a couple of those instances, he's better with a smaller guy. This match isn't bad. It's very big guys doing big things. Paul Bearer, Undertaker's former manager, shows up, costs Undertaker the match, Vader wins, and it appears Paul Bearer now manages Vader. And that's all that match offers. It's not a great match. Both of these men have had much better matches than what they had tonight. I know I said I wasn't really going to talk about the interviews and the backstage segments, but there's a hilarious interview with the British Bulldog as he's walking into the arena, where he says he's going to win the Royal Rumble because he is bizarre. Like, what? I am missing something about this man's gimmick in 1997, because I have no idea why. He looks at the camera and goes, I'm going to win this Rumble because I'm bizarre. I'm sorry. I have it written down here because it's a highlight of this Rumble for me, is that the British Bulldog is bizarre. We then have a 6-man tag match featuring, I'm going to butcher some of these names, Kanika, Hector Garza, and Pero Aguayo versus Forza Guerrera, Heavy Metal, and Jerry Estrada. WWE, for a very brief period in late 96, early 97, had a working relationship with the AAA promotion from Mexico. Because they are in San Antonio, they decided to bring up a bunch of the wrestlers, and this is a 6-man tag match you get. And it's also when everyone goes to the bathroom, because nobody knows who these guys are. And oddly enough, they didn't send enough guys, because Heavy Metal is wrestling for the second time tonight. He was also in the pre-show. I got that off of Wikipedia. But he was part of the pre-show, and now he's wrestling in a 6-man tag match, and now he's wrestling this one. I mean, it's a pretty decent match. You got a lot of high flyers. They hit the high spots. It's something you don't normally see in WWF circa 1997. For the life of me, at this exact moment, I can't remember which team wins. This is really, even today, when reviewing this pay-per-view and re-watching it, it's kind of the piss break match. You kind of stop paying attention. You go to your phone, like, oh, that's a cool spot, and you're screwing around on your phone. Get up, you grab something because the Rumble's about to start. It's a match. That brings us to the Royal Rumble itself. I'm really sad. I can't remember who won that match, but I can't. I'm not going to waste time looking it up. So this Rumble again also features AAA wrestlers from Mexico, including Pierroth, Mil Mascaras, Cibernetico, and the Latin Lover. Mil Mascaras has a great moment in this because he thought he was such a popular wrestler in Mexico that it would hurt his character to be thrown over the top rope in the Royal Rumble. So instead of being thrown over the top rope, Cibernetico gets eliminated, and then Mil Mascaras climbs up and jumps on top of him to eliminate himself. Now again, literally over the years, other wrestlers have accidentally eliminated themselves in very similar fashions, and were allowed back in the ring. This year, however, that's not how it works. And it happens a couple of times, because I think Ahmed Johnson jumps over the top rope. I think Farouk gets smacked in the ass with a 2x4 over the top rope by Ahmed Johnson. It's a pretty ridiculous match. Another great highlight is, of course, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin, fresh off of, becoming Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's less than a year after he won King of the Ring and said Austin 316 says, I just kicked your ass. He's less than a year from that. He enters at number 5, proceeds to clear the ring of anyone who's in there. He throws out number 6 and number 7 right away. Then the ring is allowed to fill up a little bit. Just a little bit. Then there's a bunch of guys, the ring fills up, and then all of a sudden, by the time you get to man number 18, the ring is empty again, and it's just Austin by himself. And then he quickly throws out man number 19, who he had just gotten a feud with, and man number 20, which I'm really sad, and it's not on the network version, so it couldn't have happened, because they own the rights to it. But I swear to God, the real Jesse James, or better known as the Road Dogg in his popular career. I swear he sang With My Baby Tonight as he was coming down the aisle, but he didn't. That is the Mandela effect, I'll admit that one. Finally, Bret Hart shows up, and Austin and Hart go at it. So at man number 21 is when you have Austin and Bret Hart and who's ever left. Then the next entrant is Jerry the King Lawler, our commentator, who gets up, puts down his headset, takes off his coat, rolls into the ring, jumps into the ring. Bret Hart stands up, punches Lawler, and Lawler flies over the top rope out to the floor. I'm pretty sure my description of it actually took longer than Jerry Lawler was in the Rumble. It's a great moment. This Rumble also marks the only time Razor Ramon is ever in the Royal Rumble, except it's not Scott Hall playing Razor Ramon, it's whoever played the fake Razor Ramon when they were brought back because Vince McMahon got pissed that they left and went, I own their gimmicks, so he put the costumes on other guys. He's in the ring for like 30 seconds. The fake Diesel, however, who would later go on to become Kane, has a much better run in this Rumble. And he looks pretty good. You buy that they pushed him for more after this, because he looks good in this Rumble. Terry Funk opens, and if my roommate was sitting next to me, I'd hear him say burning down the house, because for some reason, every time I say Terry Funk, he responds with burning down the house, and you would be surprised how many times Terry Funk can oddly come up in conversations burning down the house. Him and Mankind, we get down to the last couple of guys. Him and Mankind topple over the ropes, and they're fighting each other, and the refs are drawn to them. As that's happening, Bret Hart throws Steve Austin over the top rope to the floor on the other side of the ring. Austin stands up, notices that no ref saw him hit the floor, so he rolls back into the ring, throws out The Undertaker and Vader, as Bret Hart is eliminating Diesel. So technically, Diesel, played by Glenn Jacobs, is the runner-up in this Rumble. And then Austin sneaks up and throws Bret Hart over the top rope. The referees ring the bell, and Austin is declared the winner. Obviously, Austin does not go to WrestleMania to challenge for the belt because of the circumstances of this ending. But it's a great ending. It's that great nail-in-the-coffin kind of ending for a guy like Austin. For a heel to win the Rumble, he got eliminated. The rest never saw, so he came back in and pitched everyone else out of the ring to win the match. He'd end up going to the next pay-per-view called Fatal 4 to face Undertaker, Vader, and Hart for the world title. And that's a story I'll get to more on in a minute. So Austin wins the Rumble. It's a great Rumble. It is just a great Rumble match. This one, like 91, I really like the Rumble match. I think it's a fun match, and it's enjoyable to watch. The opening match is like Goldust Hunter's worth watching, and then you can basically just skip to the Rumble. After that, we have Shawn Michaels taking on Psycho Sid for the world title. Sid is the champion after using a camera to bash Shawn Michaels and trying to go after his manager, Jose Lothario. This is the rematch. Michaels is in his hometown, and he's going to win the world title for a second time in his hometown. It's his boyhood dream. It's Shawn Michaels and Sid. It's alright. It's fine. It's a fine match. It ends with Michaels using a camera to hit Sid. So, it's kind of a shitty win for Michaels. Like, oh, look at that. He's cheating to win the belt, but everyone's like, yeah! It's like, seriously? He's the babyface, and he's doing this really heelish thing. He can't just beat Sid clean, so he's hitting him with a camera. So Michaels regains the world title in San Antonio, and a few nights later on Raw, he has an injury, he has to leave, but he says he lost his smile. It's a hilarious promo, because that's his statement, is he lost his smile, so he has to forfeit the title, so he can go find a smile. Hence the four-way title match that Bret Hart wins, so now he's the champion. Bret Hart then faces Sid the next night on Raw, and Sid wins the belt back, so he can fight Undertaker at WrestleMania. It makes no sense. It's one of these, when, it could have just been this. Michaels forfeits the belt, Sid wins the belt back, Undertaker wins the four-way dance to determine who's going to WrestleMania, Sid Undertaker at WrestleMania. Instead, we have Michaels forfeits the belt, Bret Hart wins a four-way, Sid wins the belt, Undertaker then wins a qualifying match to get to WrestleMania, and now we're at, That's a weird Ziggy line to how they got to WrestleMania after Shawn Michaels lost his smile. which also may be through the rumor mill. Him not wanting to lose to Bret. I'm sorry, there's no air quotes then. Him not wanting to lose to Bret Hart. So that is the 1997 Royal Rumble. I enjoyed this one. It's not the greatest. Again, Farouk Ahmed, Vader, Undertaker, and the 6 Lucha match. They're watchable. They're not great. Goldust Hunter's a pretty good match. The Rumble is great. Shawn and Sid, it's a fun match. So if you haven't seen the 97 Rumble, check it out. Hit subscribe if you want to make sure you see my last video, 2001, and that Royal Rumble. Comment if you have anything you want to say. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.